So today's video is one of the videos for the vain, a really cheap ass way of being vain. So my hair, which I cut recently, but it looks a mess because I haven't had a shower yet, which I will today. My hair is salt and pepper brown, dark brown, and my beard is almost white, which really pisses me off. If the two matched, it wouldn't be such a big deal. But the fact that this has more white than brown in it really drives me nuts and burns my ass. So, what I'm going to do today is dye it. And I'm going to show guys how to dye their hair, because a lot of guys do it wrong and you end up with hair on your face that doesn't match the hair on your head or even come close. And then it looks like a complete dye job, which is a problem because then you look like a silly old fool. And in case you're wondering just how old I am, probably old enough to be your father. I am 49. I don't look 49. I don't act 49. But when I'm done, then you will see what I mean. So what I use is this product. And I buy it, of all places, because I'm a cheap, vain bastard, at a thrift store or a dollar store near me. It cost $1.25. Where the exact same product or similar products cost close to $12 in most pharmacies and stores. I'm cheap. I'm real cheap. In fact, for the longest time I didn't dye my facial hair because I couldn't be bothered to spend the 10 to 12 bucks for it. Now, the stuff that I buy, because it is a knockoff or a cheaper brand, it doesn't last as long, so it does fade after a little while, about 2 weeks. But excuse me, for the amount that I pay for it, I can get three to four really good applications, maybe 5 if I squeeze it. So you can get a month out of it for $1.25. You'd be crazy not to, right? So what I do when I do dye is I dye my beard, my mustache, and my eyebrows. Now, my hair is normally a dark brown, which is why I picked up just brown. Now, if you are buying a higher quality brand, they have a light brown and a dark brown. Always go one shade lighter. And the reason for this is my attempt, or at least with going with the one shade lighter, is that it will turn the white ones brown and the gray ones stay gray. I don't mind having gray at 49 years of age. I don't like having white at 49 years of age. So, with that thought, let me get on to mixing it and putting it on. So the average kit will come with a pair of gloves, which I don't use because I'm pretty careful with this stuff because I know it dyes things. A tube of what they call developer, a applicator brush, which if you rinse out will last for quite a while, a tube of brown, and a mixing tray. So I'm going to try to mix this together hands free. This should be fun. So let's see if I can do this without killing myself or my phone. I'm just going to wedge my phone in here. Looks good to me. So you take and put a little of the brown in one side of the tray. So you take it and you just give it a squeeze, not too big of a squeeze because, well, okay, this tube's running out. But you give it you make a line in the sand. Not the straightest line on the planet, but you then take and put a similar size line, a developer, not necessarily on it. I normally go on the other side, and then I will take, come on, I will take and, yeah, similar size. Doesn't have to be exactly the same, but it's got to be pretty close because you want it to mix evenly. And then you take the applicator brush and you mix it all together. Now the directions say to test it on your skin and your elbow, inside of the elbow, not the outside. Just a small little area. That way to find out whether or not you're allergic to it, because this stuff can burn. Some people who are really sensitive skin may have a problem with it. I thankfully don't. Once you have it mixed, you then take it and simply, let me get this over, and then you apply it to the area that you want to dye and brush it in. Now, get it on as much as you want, or as little as you want, in the areas you want. And keep in mind, the more you put on, the darker it'll get in that area. Now, they tell you not to do your eyebrows, but I do my eyebrows, just because it looks silly, in my opinion, to have a dyed or darkened beard and mustache without having a darkened eyebrows. I mean, think about this. You want ghastly, ghostly white eyebrows and a brown mustache and beard? You're gonna look absolutely silly. Whoa, close up. If you could only see how I'm recording this, I've got my cell phone at arm's length backwards, so I'm watching the reflection in the mirror as I'm applying this stuff to my face. So, I think I'm going to pause this, apply it all, and then come back. Now, once you have most of this in, you need to set a 5-minute timer, so let me go do that. The reason why you set a 5-minute timer is you don't want it to get too dark, especially your first time applying it. It's okay if you get it just a little light. You can always darken it, or now the problem is you don't want it to be too dark, because it'll be really noticeable. And if you do a gradual fade, it won't be so bad. But you definitely do not want the stuff in your eyes, and you definitely do not want it in your mouth, because it tastes horrible. So I'm rinsing out the brush. Hopefully you can see that, so that it lasts longer. And then you rinse out the tray and put all the rest of the stuff in it. And if you're not like me, who tore open the box, you take and put everything in the box, so that way it doesn't stain anything else. Now, if you're clumsy like I was the first time, I do suggest wearing something dark when you do this the first time, because you could end up with it in your clothing, which I did, and I ruined a perfectly good shirt, but that's okay. Well, it's not okay, but I didn't pay too much for it because, again, I'm cheap, and I got it at the Value Village near me. Now, the Value Village, if you are Canadian and you've heard of the Value Village, or if you happen to have one wherever you live, it's a thrift store. Not like the American thrift stores where things get discounted as time goes on, which is awesome. I wish we had those here. It's just a store where they discount stuff. And most of it's used, clothing, whatever. And I have no problem buying used clothing because I wash the hell out of it, because I don't want some sweaty bugger sweat in my clothing. But I do buy a lot of used clothing and used items. But there's no crime in buying used clothing, for yourself at least. I had a friend who used to buy used clothing for his family as Christmas gifts and stuff. I'm sorry, but I just couldn't do that, and at the same point, I couldn't take and shut the water off. Couldn't spend the time to make sure the clothing was absolutely spotlessly perfect, otherwise people would notice. So what I'm going to do is when the bell sounds, I am going to take and hop into the shower. Yes, that's my bathroom sink. Still has hair on it from where I cut my hair. But what I'm going to do is hop into the shower and wash this stuff off. I shouldn't have had a shirt on today. And then to complete the illusion, get it off the eyebrows. Then to complete the illusion, what I'm going to do is shave, which will be a completely separate video because I'm going to be doing that using a safety razor with the steel blades, the ones that, you know, old farts used to use. Well, the reason for that is it gets a really smooth shave and it's really cheap. But yeah. So therefore I will have dyed my face and I will have taken and scraped off the excess. Hopefully I won't bleed too much. And with my hair washed and dried and everything, I should be presentable for the online broadcasts. Oh God, I hope so, because I do not find myself attractive. I do not like looking at myself. I do not like talking to myself. However, broadcasting myself will force me to get used to how I look and worry about how I look and sound. So yes, as you can also see, I have a boatload of tattoos. So I'm not going to show you anything else because I am standing here on the edge of the shower waiting for my bell to go off so I can hop in. So no, don't look down. Anyway, so I'm just going to pause this here and hop in the shower, wait for my ding to go, my bell to ring so I can rinse this off. Yeah, don't leave it more than 5 minutes. Even if you think it's not looking like it's darkening, once you hit the water, it will darken up, and you don't want it too dark because it will look stupid. But if it looks, as long as it darkens it without blackening it or making it darker than the hair on your head, you're fine. Because a lot of people make that mistake, and I've seen people who go out and get a perm. I don't know why guys get perms. A perm, and they dye their beard and they dye their hair, and they look like a poodle. I don't want to look like a poodle. Oh, my timer's up. Anyway, into the shower I go. Okay, so as you can see, it's darker. It doesn't look too much darker, but it is darker, and if you do it right, it'll look natural. The eyebrows turned out just perfect. And I have trimmed them recently with a beard trimmer set at the lowest setting. Because otherwise I look like a combination of Brooke Shields and Gorbachev. No, he was the one with the mark. Brezhnev, Leonid Brezhnev, the former Russian president, and Brooke Shields had a love child. That's what my eyebrows look like. I look like a scary old man. So that is how the dye job turns out. It will darken just a little bit as it dries, because I did just get out of the shower, but that's not bad. And now I'm going to stop this and do another video on shaving with a safety razor, because they are a good way to save money, but they are also a good way to cut your face to pieces. And yes, I know my hair looks really thin up the top, but that's because it's wet. If it was dry, it would spring up badly like that, and then it wouldn't be so bad because it does do its own thing as it dries. Anyway, I'm having trouble doing this, so let me just turn the video around here, pause it, and yeah, I'm gonna take and just shave now with that, but that's gonna be a completely different video.